Okay, people. So, yeah, recently I got sent this indie horror, revenge horror. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure. It's kind of a horror, I guess, because there's a possession, kind of a possession. Yeah. It's kind of horror, kind of sci-fi, you know, a little crazy, crazy. But it's called The Unhealer, which I don't know because I kind of feel unhealing is killing, but there is some healing. So, don't know. But yeah, I decided to give it a look, right? So, this film is directed by Martin Guigui. I know I butchered that, so apologies, Martin. It is written by Kevin E. Moore and J. Shawn Harris. Um, Producing the piece is Tony Hannigan, Christy Harris, J. Shawn Harris. They are siblings. Um, and Galen Walker. Right, so Mark Van Keur handled the music. Massimo Zeri was on the cinematography. It is edited by Eric Poulter and Peter Devani Flanagan. Casting was from D.E. Frank and Donald Paul Perrick. Production design is Jason Furlaway. Costume design is Amparo Mura. Makeup, Kate Klein and Elena Maravellas. Oh, I think. And our cast. Well, people, we have got Lance Henriksen as Pfeiffer. He is a bit of a charlatan. A bit of a charlatan, really. Then we've got Paulette, played by Shelby James, and her son Kelly, played by Elijah Nelson. There's Dominique, who is a friend, love interest of Kelly, and she is played by Carla Carlson. Her friend Sarah, who is played by Angeline Appel. We've got three brothers, Nelson, Reed, and Tony. Nelson is played by David Gridley. Reed is Gavin Caslargano, and Tony is Will Roop. There's Brad, played by Thomas Archer. Tucker, played by Mike Gray. They're all friends. We've got Kendall, played by Shauna Wright. Bernice. No, sorry. Bernice is his mum, not Paulette. Bernice is played by Natasha Henstridge. We have Terry, who is played by Christy Harris. She gets in on the action. Avery, played by Ava Gardner. Red Elk, who is played by Branscombe Richmond. Fitzgerald, who's played by Kevin E. West. Jed, played by Ian Fisher. Yeah, that's our main group of people. Okay, so the gist of the film is this. Where is our? Oh, I am all over the place. Here we go. Kelly has an unusual eating disorder called picker. feasting on inedible items like paper, styrofoam, and erasers. Doctors can't help him. Classmates pick on him daily. His single mum is at her wit's end. When his condition worsens, Kelly's mum hires a faith healer to lay hands on a bedridden Kelly. The healing ritual ends in disaster, but serves its purpose. And even more surprising, Kelly gains supernatural powers. Any pain inflicted on him is instead felt by his aggressor. The next time a classmate attacks him, for every punch landed on Kelly, the bully bleeds and Kelly heals. Out cruising the desert streets, his tormentors find Kelly riding his bike. They cheer as they tailgate and terrify him until Kelly hits a pothole and they run him over. As Kelly is crushed and dragged under the car, his power transfers the injuries to the driver. Dum dum dum. Yeah. So you know, Kelly's classmates now begin to alienate him even more, except for Dominique. And that's where the story develops, people. Right. So it's an interesting one, this, because firstly, I'd forgotten all about Picker. Right. Now, I've heard of it, but once it's like, you hear the name, you're like, oh, of course. But yeah, I didn't, it kind of slipped my mind. And that's a crazy eating disorder, right? I think at first it wasn't so clear he's eating the styrofoam. But when he opens up his locker and picks up a pencil and starts eating the eraser on the end of it, yeah, then you notice, right? Then it's a bit like, huh, okay. Now, I would look, you know what I mean? No shade or anything like that, but if that's your thing, you don't really want to be eating in the open, right? In the corridor at school. I think like you could hide it, sneak some bites and all of that. But yeah, this is not it's not creating a good vibe for Kelly. He's getting picked on, he's getting bullied, he dunked in the rubbish bin, all of that jazz. That happens to him. The film actually opens up with Pfeiffer, right? But it is a bit unclear. There's stuff with Pfeiffer and stuff with Red Oak, and it's a little bit unclear of what Pfeiffer does. But yeah, he gets these powers. Red Oak is the keeper, right? He's meant to be the guardian of all of this stuff. Gotta say, not a very good one. Not a very good one. Right? Right? We see him confront Pfeiffer in the film, which doesn't go well. And then he kind of sees that Kelly's got the power, but doesn't really do anything until close to the end. So, yeah, as a guardian, I mean, Red Oak fails miserably. But yeah, so we see all of this stuff go down, right? And then Pfeiffer, he starts to do the whole healing, right? But no one questioned. Like the thing is, so they show him in the town, and there's a load of people around. But first, it's like, why would all of these people come? You know, it's just like, was Pfeiffer this beforehand? Right? That's what we don't really know. We just see him going to give a talk, but loads of people there, which is a little bit baffling, right? Because there's no big sign or any like, so yeah, that's a little bit baffling. And then when he does his thing, no one questions it, right? No one's like, oh, she's a plant. Or, maybe it's just like, oh, no, that's real. I know her. She's been in pain all her life. Like, at least something, right? At least something. Because when we then get Bernice approach him, because at this point, Kelly is, you know, he's ill. But again, it's a little like, what would be wrong with him? Obviously, he's not getting very good, any nutritional benefits from styrofoam paper, erasers, any of that jazz. But it's like, the doctor comes and it's just like, I don't know. Oh, what could be wrong with it? Like, and you're just like, okay, no, there would be something clearly wrong, right? Whether it's malnutrition, scurvy, like something. But no, so she, at her wit's end, approaches his faith healer, which you do think again. There's the faith, right? There's faith healing, and then there's this dude who's like, you gotta give me the money first, because the money then triggers my powers. And it's just like, wait, what? I mean, that is just, you know what I mean? That as a thing, you would think, you're a fraud, sir. You're a fraud. But yet, you get Bernice just like, oh, can you heal my son? And I'd kind of assume she would question that, right? There would be some form of questioning to be like, is this legit? Because I get she's concerned, but are you really giving over all your money for something that you don't know if it's real or not? Right? I think that could have been better established hearing that whole thing. But he comes, it goes wrong, which, because there's two attempts, and the first one doesn't go well. And you kind of think, wait, why would you, if you got a bad, like, why would you go, you know what I mean? There's the odd things that go down in the film, but yeah, we see Kelly get the power, and I think then he's trying to work out, right? Well, he doesn't know he's got the power essentially. Then he discovers after getting bullied. But I think there is some oddness with the film in the fact that it doesn't really establish certain things very well. Like the thing it does well is the opening interactions with Kelly and Dominic, right? Because we see that they were friends. We find out, you know, she likes him because he was there for her when she was new, right? He welcomed her, he helped her, all of that. So we get all of this, and you're like, okay, that makes sense. And yeah, there's a loyalty, right? And so her being like, hey, leave him alone, and all, you'd be like, all right, that makes sense. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down with that. So that was done well. It's just, I mean, Kelly getting beaten up is one thing, right? But then some of the stuff, because his mum is all, you gotta hide it, right? And again, unless you are saying this film is made, even if it's made in the 70s, right? 60s, if you're like, say, there were comic books then, there were superheroes, not as many as we have now, but yeah, there's that understanding, like you don't reveal your powers, right? Don't reveal your powers. But he's all kind of just flaunting the shit. Would you think it's not gonna bode well, man? It's not gonna bode well. Now, when retaliation comes, like again, it's one of those things that when you have a scene that you don't need, right? A scene that you don't need, but you have your characters being like, hey, do you need it? I'm going to go and do this. Okay, I'll wait. Like this whole big thing, oh shit, something bad is now going to happen, right? Because it's too heavy handed. But the thing that goes down is a little baffling. It's a little baffling because they're like, oh, we're monitoring Kelly. Oh, we want to do this thing and blah, blah, blah. But they know he lives with his mum. They know that. So it's just like, yeah, it's weird. It's weird everything that goes down. And then from that, we do get one of the bullies show remorse. But then that's played weird because at 1 minute they're showing remorse, and then all of a sudden they're back. And you're like, wait, you're flip-flopping here. You've just had this character do this thing for the last 20, 30 minutes, and now you're having them go back to what they were at the very start, which doesn't really make any sense. You know, doesn't really make any sense. Now some of the effects are pretty good. Some of the effects are pretty good. Some are a little bit, you know what I mean, hacky. The acting, the acting isn't bad in some parts. Kelly, like I think there's scenes of you know, the being possessed, and like there's a, you know, the platoon scene, you know what I mean, when someone drops their knees and it's like, no, he does that at one point. It's not good. It's not good. Like, he's very endearing, as I said, with the whole Dominic, right? It's a scene, and you like, and it's like, yeah, a little punch to the sky, and you feel it. But then some of the other stuff, it's just overplayed, right? It's just a little bit hack. Now, we have, like, there's films like P.S. Psycho Gorman, right? Which was very fun, tongue in cheek, and it's playing up that little over the top craziness, and that you get it, right? You can see what they're doing. With this, I don't think that's the intention, but we do get that over the top, that, oh no, you know what I mean, from some characters. But then you have other people playing it mad straight, so it gets a little bit convoluted in that, you know, in that sense. But the end, the end's a bit crazy, right? Because you kind of figure the power sends things back on the person that did. It doesn't, like, shouldn't affect three people. Like, the having this thing affect three people was like, how the fuck is that happen? Like, it's, yeah, because you just hear one noise, right? Which signifies one. So how, yeah, it was, made no sense. Made no sense. Other thing that made no sense was this dream, this lucid dream that three people had. Three people had, and then no one commented on it, right? It was a bit like, what's the purpose of this scene? Because no one then brings it up afterwards, and you kind of feel that is something people are talking about, especially the scenes they make in the classroom, which, listen, not everyone reacts in the same way to certain things. So the fact that they are all doing this thing just was weird. It was really weird, and no one was saying anything for a while. And you're just like, wait, they're all arching backs and being like, "Arr!" Like, what's happening here? Right? So it's a bit weird. So yeah, there's the thing. The Unhealer, it is a little bit all over the place. I kind of felt, right? It's a little bit all over the place. But if you are a fan of, you know, those kind of revenge team angst horror films, You know what I mean? If that's your thing, I think this could very well speak to you. You know, um, if you like, there was a Shudder film that came out last year, Random Acts of Violence. Right? I feel if you like that, then maybe the Unhealer is for you. And if it is, people, it is now available. So yeah, there's a link for the DVD and to purchase via iTunes in the episode information. But yeah, on all your favorite VODs, you will be able to find it. So if it sounds like it's for you, people, go get you some Unhealing.